Syria, a nation whose roots stretch back to the earliest chapters of human civilization, has become a symbol of resilience amidst relentless conflict. After over a decade of civil war, economic collapse, and geopolitical tug-of-war, the world has turned its attention to an unlikely figure who has stepped into the spotlight: Mohammed al-Bashir. His emergence as the leader of a fractured and war-torn country has raised questions, sparked intrigue, and left both Syrians and international observers pondering what this moment means for Syria's future. The Assad dynasty, synonymous with authoritarian rule and relentless suppression, was long the face of Syrian governance. Bashar al-Assad, who inherited power from his father, ruled through a combination of fear, patronage, and brutal military force. The uprising in 2011, which began as a cry for reform, quickly spiraled into a devastating civil war that dragged in regional and global powers. What followed was over a decade of suffering, cities reduced to rubble, millions of lives uprooted, and an economy left in ruins. For years, Assad clung to power, propped up by alliances with Russia and Iran, while much of the world labeled him a pariah. But power built on fragile alliances can crumble swiftly. Recent developments, including a concerted push by opposition groups and a series of defections within Assad's own ranks, destabilized the regime. Damascus, once considered an impregnable stronghold, was suddenly vulnerable. Reports suggest that under growing pressure from both within and outside his regime, Assad fled to Russia. His departure marked a turning point, a moment many Syrians had dreamed of, though the path forward remained uncertain. It was in this vacuum of power that Mohammed al-Bashir rose to prominence. Unlike the Assads, who ruled with dynastic ambitions, al-Bashir emerged from Syria's southern region of Daraya, a city etched in history as the birthplace of the 2011 uprisings. His life story is deeply intertwined with the struggles of ordinary Syrians. Trained as an engineer, al-Bashir initially gained recognition for his pragmatic approach to governance and his efforts to address the economic crises that ravaged Syria during the war. Al-Bashir's political career began with his involvement in local governance during the height of the conflict. Over time, he rose to prominence within opposition circles for his ability to unite fractured factions and propose solutions that appealed to both moderates and hardliners. His reputation as a technocrat, someone more focused on practical governance than ideological battles, made him a rare figure in a landscape dominated by sectarian divisions and entrenched rivalries. However, al-Bashir's affiliations with Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, a powerful opposition group with a controversial past, complicate his narrative. HTS, previously linked to extremist ideologies, has sought to rebrand itself as a legitimate governing authority in recent years, particularly in Syria's northwest. Al-Bashir served as a senior figure within the HTS-backed Salvation government, holding positions that allowed him to push forward significant reforms, including the digitization of administrative processes and efforts to stabilize the local economy. Despite criticism of HTS's broader policies, al-Bashir was seen as a voice of reason within its ranks, advocating for reconciliation and development initiatives. His rise to leadership comes at a time when Syria is at a crossroads. The country faces immense challenges, rebuilding cities devastated by war, addressing a humanitarian crisis of staggering proportions, and navigating the deep scars of sectarianism and mistrust that years of violence have left behind. Syria's economy, once among the most robust in the Middle East, is now one of the region's weakest, crippled by sanctions, corruption, and the destruction of its infrastructure. Al-Bashir has inherited a nation in desperate need of reconstruction, but one where resources are scarce and the road to recovery fraught with obstacles. Internationally, al-Bashir's leadership raises both hope and skepticism. His moderate rhetoric and focus on governance have drawn cautious optimism from some regional powers. Countries like Turkey and Qatar, which have supported elements of the opposition during the conflict, see in him a potential partner for stabilizing Syria. On the other hand, nations like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, which have recently sought to normalize ties with Damascus under Assad, now face a complex recalibration of their strategies. Al-Bashir's association with HTS, still considered a terrorist organization by the West, complicates his ability to gain widespread international legitimacy, For Russia and Iran, Syria's key backers during the Assad era, al-Bashir represents both a challenge and an opportunity. While his leadership signals a shift away from Assad's deeply unpopular rule, his lack of alignment with their long-term strategies could create tensions. Yet, with the right diplomatic overtures, al-Bashir could use his technocratic image to draw in reconstruction aid from the international community, a move that would benefit Syria's allies as well. The Syrian people, who have borne the brunt of the war's devastation, remain cautious. Years of conflict have eroded trust in leadership, leaving many skeptical of anyone who claims to have the nation's best interests at heart. Al-Bashir's promises of reform, transparency, and a focus on rebuilding the economy resonate with those desperate for change. But promises alone are not enough. Syrians have seen leaders rise and fall, and they understand better than most that the true measure of leadership lies in action. Al-Bashir's approach to governance will be critical in determining his success. His ability to unify a divided nation, address deep-seated grievances, and rebuild shattered institutions will be tested at every turn. Beyond the immediate challenges of reconstruction and reconciliation, he will also need to navigate the delicate balance of power in the Middle East, where every decision can have far-reaching consequences. For now, the world watches closely. Mohammed al-Bashir's rise to power marks a new chapter in Syria's tumultuous history, but one fraught with uncertainty. Will he be the leader who guides Syria toward stability and recovery? Or will he become another figure caught in the quagmire of its endless conflict? His journey has just begun, and its outcome will shape not only Syria but the broader region for years to come.